County regular meeting for the Board of Supervisors for Tuesday, March 11th. Get a roll call of the members, please.
Supervisor Reynolds. Here. Supervisor Jeffrey Trout. Here. Supervisor Brownell. Here. Supervisor Latini. Here. Supervisor Borst.
Here.
Supervisor Hayes. Supervisor Schmitter.
Here.
Supervisor Cronenwater. Here. Supervisor Reinhardt.
Here.
Supervisor Partee. Here. Supervisor Heisen. Here. Supervisor Don Trout. Supervisor Enslow.
Here.
Supervisor Shipley.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Tonight we're going to do a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. Before we stand up, Supervisor Reinhardt, would you like to talk about the...
Yes. I would ask that our moment of silence tonight, we remember two longtime county employees who recently passed away, Stan Schreier and Dale Arcangeli, both longtime employees of the Sheriff's Office, and I had the privilege of working with them both for several years. Both over 30-year employees of the Sheriff's Department, and I would ask that during our moment of silence, we remember them, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Please rise. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks again, Supervisor Reinhardt, for that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. First up, we have the mayor from Ovid. You'd like to address the board?
Yes.
You can come right up to the podium here.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Aaron Roizen, mayor of the village of Ovid. Here to address everybody about the support that we are receiving from Seneca County for the water improvement project, and we're really appreciative of it. It's it's been a huge detriment to the community on what's happened, and this will allow us to further our project that we were already in place developing our water main project. So, I appreciate all the support and everything that you guys are doing for us. It's it's really incredible, and the outreach has been outstanding. So these are the points I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. If anybody from the public would like to address the board, now would be the time. Up to the podium, say where you're from and who you are.
So my name is Bruce Murray. I live at 1428 Porter Covert Road in the town of Lodi. I'm a business owner in the town of Lodi. Currently, I'm also the chair of the county IDA. So I'm here today to speak about the same subject that, or somewhat about the same subject that Aaron Roizen did. A little over a month ago, the county lost a really vital asset when a block in Ovid burned. We all are aware of that. There is a very committed and interested group of local residents who are committed to seeing the recovery of that block and the further growth of that community. However, there are going to be some hurdles along the way, and I'm here to support the two resolutions that are on your agendas for tonight, number 44 and number 47. Very, very briefly, number 47 is the infrastructure grant that Aaron referred to. And in reality, what is going to happen? This is not cast in stone, but it's likely that to get a private real estate developer to come in and build what needs to be built on that block, that is a combination of commercial businesses, specifically a grocery store like the Big M that was there previously, that developer is going to want to see that that site is shovel ready. That means they're not going to have to come in and clean it up, number one, somehow put in the sewer, and somehow figure out what they need to do to build it. The Seneca Army Depot, when it was put out to bid, was not shovel ready. The Willard facility was not shovel ready. in today's economic development environment, if you want a developer to put their hard money, that is, private sector money, into development, it's got to be met part of the way by public money. And so what Supervisor Trout has proposed and Mayor Royson, Supervisor Borst, they're doing all the right things to lay the groundwork for getting the right developer into that community. It's not going to be just the county or the state with their money. The IDA has a part to play. You know, we'll be there at the table. We know how that works. But if we can put a very good plan together, that's the planning grant. That's number 44. We have to get someone in here to say, what are the most economically viable businesses for the county's benefit to go in there? That's the planning money. That's what we're going to figure out. And then we make the economic argument to developers that say, look, this can work for you if we do it this way. And if we put all those pieces in place in the right sequence, 2, 4, 5 years down the line, we'll be glad we did. Thank you. So 44 and 47.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public that would like to address the board? All right, thank you very much. Okay, we have a presentation. Jill Henry and Joe McGrath from the Land Bank would like to join us.
So this is the annual land bank presentation I do every year. What you have in front of you is much longer than what the presentation is going to be. The comptroller says I have to tell you a lot of stuff every year. That's what's in your packet. The presentation, much shorter, what I actually want to tell you. All right, mission statement. Finger Lakes Regional Land Bank Corporation acquires, improves, and redistributes vacant, blighted, and tax abandoned properties to eliminate the harms and liabilities caused by such properties and returns them to productive use while being consistent with local municipalities' redevelopment and comprehensive plans. We're starting with that essentially because what we're about to go through is how we're working to achieve that and have been over the past year. So if you remember last year, the whole presentation was essentially how to set up this thing that we called the Seneca County Housing Pipeline. Basically, it starts with the foreclosure at the county, the property vacant and abandoned land bank, and then what we had figured out was hopefully to a third-party partner, a local partner, like Seneca Housing Incorporated. Over the past year, you may remember this board adopted a resolution supporting Seneca Housing to become a rural preservation company. That's a program that the state operates to provide annual funding to housing organizations in rural areas. Prior years with the land bank, we had trouble finding a local dedicated developer that could actually apply to the state, the Homes and Community Renewal, and get the money that we need to do certain types of projects. To apply for the good housing grants, you have to be an owner-operator, which we did not have. Since this board supported Seneca Housing's application, passed a resolution, wrote a letter, and enabled the planning department to provide technical assistance to them in writing the grant application, they got that. They have that ability. And now we're pretty much off to the races working with Seneca Housing. Also in that time, about a year ago, the Land Bank, supported by Land Bank Initiative funds from HCR, went out and we knew that we needed a group of professionals, a group of professional services to put these projects together. When you're doing these funding applications, working with Seneca Housing or whoever it may be, to put everything together, you need a lot of stuff. You need budgets, you need formas, you need cost estimates, you need your stamp drawings, your designs, you need site plans, you often need zoning permits, you need actual cost estimates. For certain things, you need historical preservation consulting. So what we did is we went out and we got all of these things at once under one RFP. That way we were able to utilize what we needed to do to put these applications together and work towards shovel-ready sites. So we've got 2 projects in the pipeline across 4 different sites. The first one is in partnership with Seneca Housing. So this is really the traditional nuts and bolts housing pipeline project. It's 7 units total, and this is also the one that's supported by the ARPA money and the Seneca County Housing Trust Fund. So $500,000 of that is going towards this funding package that will hopefully result in about $3.4 billion of investment if we can get the next grant award. So then we applied for funding from HCR for the key piece in February, and we should hear back sometime in May about that. So basically, speaking of shovel-ready sites, that's essentially what we're doing. So we've demolished the structure. We have designs, we have cost estimates, we have phase 1s, phase 2s, environmental site assessments. We have the budgets and applications. Everything's been put to the state. When this project transfers to Seneca Housing, it will be a complete shovel-ready site. It'll have all its permits, it'll have all the design work done, and it will have funding and be ready to go should everything continue to be awarded. So this is the property in in Willard on Pleasant Street. It's the dead end on the east side of the hamlet, right at the dead end. So we're looking at 3 units there, and that is a elevation on the bottom of that proposal there. In the same package, on West Seneca Street in Ovid, we demolished that structure a few years back. This is right around the corner from where the Big M was. We're looking at 4 units there, a townhouse, character matching structure in the front, parking lot in the middle, and then 2 handicapped accessible units in the back. So in about May, we'll know if all of this is coming together, and I expect that it will.
Joe, could I ask a question? On the properties, are they up for auction first, and if no one buys them, you guys take them? Or how-
Nope. We kind of go through the list and take the worst of the worst. And traditionally, the county, prior to the changes in the tax foreclosure system with the Supreme Court and the state legislation, the county would traditionally, when there was an auction, just grant the properties to the land bank, and we would start this process. That calculus might change this upcoming year because we're no longer able to keep the excess revenue from the auction. It has to be returned to the property owners. So that's a conversation I think we should be having as the auction gets closer about how to transfer and how to think about doing this. But Traditionally, yes. Under the prior laws and rules and the way things were done, we would just go find the worst ones and take those.
Thank you.
So we have another project happening, basically in the same method as the Seneca housing project. This one is with FLACRA. They provide all sorts of services. One of them is supportive housing. If you notice the graph, those are the county's emergency housing costs over time, and we can see that they're increasing. The Land Bank Association Rural Committee had a study completed that looked at how we could help address this rising cost issue for counties. And one of the ways was, there was a whole bunch of ways they came up with, but one of them was helping to develop permanent supportive housing. If you put the people that are in these hotel rooms into permanent supportive housing, the county's no longer paying for it. That cost is shifted to the state. So that's off of our tax rolls and off of our taxpayer. So on that path, we've got 2 sites in the village of Waterloo. 55 Washington Street was a zombie property owned by Wells Fargo. It's been vacant for many years, and there's a long, interesting history with the property, but it's highly distressed, needs to come down. It's a historic property, so we've been working with the state to get the permission to tear it down. We've already have our site plans and permits, everything in place with the village. We have all of our designs, cost estimates, and those things are coming along. On a parallel track, FLACRA is working with our consultants. They're paying them, but working with the same consultants to put the funding application together. So when they get the funding awarded for this project, it all transfers to them, and they build and carry forward. So we're looking at basically a recreation of the historic house fronting Washington Street, 2 townhouse units fronting Huff Street in the back, and a single-family house on Walnut Street in Waterloo, all in the same package. So we need to demo 55 Washington, so we need to get that historical clearance. We've got some additional site work around to clean up some remaining slab and stuff on some of the sites just to make sure we hit that shovel-ready standard. And then we will be applying for the next round of LBI money, where acquisition is an eligible expense. So to Mr. Schmitter's point about how are we going to handle, or how this has been handled in the past for transferring properties to the land bank, we could use this resource to pay for them upcoming. An amount of this award we're going to be contributing to the Seneca housing project in Ovid Willard, and that is pretty much it.
Any questions? Wow, I guess you're getting off.
I think,
Oh, Supervisor Heisen.
said that you can't do that anymore, take them off the tax roll?
We can. What we can't do anymore is sell them, the county can't sell them and keep the money. So in previous years, there was an auction, and the auction would bring in more than the total taxes owed. So taking 1 off, 2 off, 4 off to the land bank didn't really affect the county's operation or budget. The calculation might be a little different this year because of that. So we're needing to navigate as it gets closer over the summer how we're going to transfer these. So we have funding available in the grant funding to acquire them, and we'll have to make a deal.
So you can't just take them for 0?
If you want to. That's what we've been doing. And if the board would like to continue the generous offer that they've given the land bank in the past, we will take it. But I think there's a conversation to be had about what would be best for everybody.
I really think we should try to auction them off, and the ones that don't go, then maybe the land bank takes over. But if this flipping houses has become a really big thing. If we get a guy who wants to buy it and flip it and keep the government out of it, it seems to go better than when we get our feet into it. It seems like everything gets expensive and crazy. There are some they probably wouldn't buy, and those maybe are the ones the land bank should do. But I'm thinking if we could get someone to buy that, fix it up and sell it or rent it, whatever they choose to do, it's probably a better solution.
I think these are past that date, most of them.
Yeah, I agree. If you can't get nothing for them, then that's when the land bank should take those ones. Or they have to be demolished.
Joe, you made a comment in there, you made a couple times you said that provided the funding continues. I guess this is a two-part question. One, when you go for these projects and you start like these townhouses that you want to do, that funding is all secured prior to the start of the project, I'm assuming, correct?
Oh, yeah, yes.
And then, I guess the second part of that is, from the time the land bank gets the property, what is the general turnaround time that the structure's up and people are living in it?
It's getting faster. So this goes back to the issue of why we needed Seneca Housing to get their Rural Preservation Company designation, because we generally worked with Habitat prior. To Mr. Schmitter's point about the private market can sometimes handle these things better. We generally have the worst of the worst, and there's been some worst of the worst that we've missed on the tax foreclosure auction that are still sitting out there with not much being done to them. So we had basically an organizational roadblock of being able to invest the money and then find the third-party partner to continue to get the investment from the state. So with Seneca Housing getting this RPC designation, and with the actual good professional services that we have that know how to do these projects, know how to keep things moving, should the funding be awarded, we're expecting the construction to start on both of these projects as soon as it gets nice in 2026 and be done by the time it gets cold. That's the goal. So as long as the state continues with the Land Bank Initiative program and continues with the RPC program, our time from acquisition demolition to reuse, somebody living in them, should continue to shrink. But yeah, figuring out what to do with these has been a process, and they're all different and they're all complicated in their own way.
I think it's a big improvement. You're heading in the right direction.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yep, thank you.
Where's that? I don't know where it is. I would do it, Amanda, but I have no clue where it is. If you go the wrong way. Yeah, see, that's why I didn't touch it. Nope, I do.
Save my seat.
Moving target there. Thank you.
Ray, before you sneak off, could you hit that projector? Came back on. Sorry.
You look good, Mike, with the light shining on you.
Yeah, I don't think so. Be blind through the night. Okay. We have no other presentations. Moving on. We get a motion to approve the minutes for February 11th, 2025, and February 25th.
Motion.
Second.
All right, we got a second. Any discussion? All in favor on approving the minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. Special committees. Any special committee reports tonight? All right, I guess none. I don't have anything. County Attorney, do you have anything tonight? Thank you. Communications.
Communications 36 through 52 have been received and filed.
Thank you. Okay. First up, Ways and Means, number 11, Supervisor Partee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board of Supervisors authorizes amendments to the 2024 Seneca County budget.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Let's see here. Number 12, Supervisor Heisen.
Authorizing acceptance of the New York State Department of Health tobacco enforcement.
Support.
We got a support, second. All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 13,
Authorizing acceptance of the New York State Department of Health Immunization Action Grant.
Support.
got a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 14,
Authorizing a contract with New York State Department of Health for year 4 of the Healthy Neighborhood Preventive Health Morning.
Support.
got a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 15,
Authorizing acceptance of the New York State Department of Health Performance Water Enhancement Grant in the amount of 2025 public health budget.
Support.
got a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 16,
Authorizing contract for aging services.
Support.
got a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 17,
Authorization for Division of Human Services to enter into contract in 2025.
Support.
second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. Number 18, Supervisor Reinhardt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board authorizes an agreement with Stark Tech for generator, boiler, and HVAC services.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 19,
Board of Supervisors approves day automation yearly service contract agreement.
Support.
got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 20,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Authorize going to bid for highway materials for 2025.
Support.
got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, number 21, Supervisor Cronwater.
Appointing a new agriculture business representative and reappointing a farmer representative to the Seneca County Agriculture Enhancement Board.
Support.
We got a second? Any discussion? Supervisor Heisen?
What? You gonna discuss or you just say aye?
We're discussing it.
Oh.
Oh. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 22,
Supervisors support sending letter to local and state representatives urging New York State Department of Environmental Conservation to fund hydrilla treatment at Sheldrick Point on Cuga Lake.
Support.
got lots of support. Any questions? Any discussion?
Unlike the DEC, I'm not ready to give up on Cuga Lake yet.
Duly noted, sir. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 23, Supervisor Vorst.
Thank you, Chairman. Board approves creation and filling of 2 full-time peer advocate positions within the Mental Health Department.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 24.
Board of Supervisors approve reclassification of psychiatric social worker to psychiatric social worker 2 in the mental health department.
Support.
Got a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 25.
Revising policy number 101.503 on-the-job incidents.
Support.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 26.
Amending the Seneca County Management Employee Handbook.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. Number 27.
Acceptance of electronic poll book grant program for Seneca County Board of Elections.
As amended, correct?
I need to amend it once we,
Oh, it was amended in committee, right?
yep.
Okay, perfect. What was this, who was the second? Supervisor Reinhardt, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 28.
Appointment to the Office of Seneca County Commissioner of Elections.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Oh, who am I going to pick on for this one? Let's see, number 29. Yeah, he's not here either. How about Supervisor Shipley? You want to do this for me?
Certainly.
I appreciate that.
Authorizing easements to facilitate a water
Second.
interconnection between the village of Waterloo and the town of Seneca Falls.
So moved.
We got a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 30. Go ahead, Supervisor Shipley. You're Supervisor Hayes tonight.
Okay. Board of Supervisors authorized to request bids for the Route 414 sewer manhole rehabilitation project.
So moved.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Number 31, Supervisor Brownell.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Board of Supervisors authorize the housing of incarcerated individuals for other counties as part of the intermunicipal agreement.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 32.
Board of Supervisors authorize the continued leasing of office space for the Seneca County Sheriff's Department at the Waterloo Premium Outlet Mall.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 33.
Board of Supervisors authorize the County Sheriff's Department to apply for a 2025 New York State Canal Corporation grant for the Marine Parole Service.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did they already get it?
Opposed? Carried. Number 34.
Board of Supervisors authorize Deputy Sheriff to attend the drug relocation execution field certification training for in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania from May 18th, 2025 to May 24th, 2025.
Support.
A second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 35.
Board of Supervisors authorize the intermunicipal agreement with the town of Seneca Falls for the purpose of joining the emergency response team.
Support.
A second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 36.
Board of Supervisors accepts the FY 2024 Emergency Management Performance Grant.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 37.
Board of Supervisors accept the FY 24 State Homeland Security Program, SHSPS, grant.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 38.
Board of Supervisors to accept the FY 2023 Domestic Terrorism Revenue Grant.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 39.
Board of Supervisors authorize the County Sheriff's Department to apply for the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services FY 2022 Explosive Detection K-19 Grant.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, sir. Next up, number 40, Supervisor Jeff Trout.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Seneca County Tourism Promotion and Development Grant Funds to be approved for the Interlaken Community Action Group for Interlaken Old Home Days.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 41.
Supervisors authorize the snowmobile trail grant applications and signing agreements with Twin Lakes Snowmobile Association and Seneca Sledders Snowmobile Association.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 42.
Supervisors authorize the grant application for the redevelopment plan for the Village of Ovid.
Support.
Got lots of seconds. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to make
Supervisor
one
Trout?
point, and I would like to publicly thank the Planning Department, particularly Jill and Joe and MRB, Pat Nicoletta and Lori Fox were crucial in both of these grants and helping us put them together and get them applied in a timely fashion. I think it's a great example of a public-private sector relationship. In addition, I want to thank the Village of Ovid and Supervisor Boers for his support for moving ahead with these efforts. Thank you.
Supervisor Trout, I just one quick question.
Supervisor
Do we
Reinhardt?
know, if this grant is awarded, the timeline for when it would be received? I'm not sure.
Jill, do you?
Thank you.
It's probably a little more predictable because it's the state and not the feds, but who knows, yeah.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 43.
Supervisors support a resolution proclaiming April 2025 as Fair Housing Month.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 44.
Supervisors support a resolution to reappoint Jill Henry as Seneca County Fair Housing Officer.
Support.
Lots of support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 45.
Supervisors support a county resolution supporting the 2025 County Infrastructure Grant Program.
Support.
Support.
Lots of support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 46.
Excuse me, the supervisors support seeking home rule requests for the introduction of the New York State Senate and Assembly bills to amend the tax law in relation to authorizing a 3% increase on the hotel and motel taxes in Seneca County.
Support.
Got a second? Any discussion? Lots, I bet. Supervisor Partee, go ahead.
Okay, I was out of town for committee meetings 2 weeks ago. How did we get to 6%? I know we've tried,
Yep.
we've approached the state multiple times for many, many years to try to get 5%, and they've never, ever even
Right.
looked at it. So now we're going to ask for more, and
So, oh, well, go ahead.
Supervisor Jeff Trout.
Well, I was just going to say that, I mean, I'll let the committee speak for themselves, but we had a conversation in committee, looking at the comparables, if you will, around. For example, like the city of Geneva has 3%, and Ontario County has 3%, so it's 6%. We had a conversation about going after the larger prize and to try to keep us competitive, but I'll let anyone on the committee who wants to add.
Supervisor Shipley?
The original proposal was 5%, like we have asked for probably the last 3 or 4 years. And the committee adjusted it to 6% for the reason Supervisor Trout gave.
Yeah, because it's, I don't, oh, Geneva's 3.
Supervisor Reinhardt, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to echo Supervisor Partee, and I agree that I'm all for trying to get more, but I think if we go that high, we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot before we even get out of the gate.
Well,
And I understand the committee, and I'll support however the board wants to go. I just want to say that I just think that maybe it's asking too much.
it might be, but I also see this potentially as a negotiating point to try to prove the fact, to actually force the conversation. And we are trying to work on setting up a meeting, A, establishing a plan on how we would actually implement this, and B, setting up a meeting with our state representatives to actually sit down and have a honest conversation about why this is needed.
And we should have enough time after that meeting with our local reps if we need to amend the amount.
Supervisor
I was just going
Partee?
to say, haven't we sat down with them for the past 3, 4 years?
Not, I haven't, not in terms of in the room together with all 3 of them there.
We will this time.
Well, then, can I ask this?
Supervisor Reinhardt?
If we make the resolution for 6% and then you say you want to negotiate, is that something that's going to have to come back for ratification at the board level?
I imagine that, I mean, I imagine for the formality of actually if it even gets picked up, that we would have to amend it.
Mike, the home rule legislation is typically voted on the last day in late June that they're in office for this session. So from the time we have our meeting, if we have to adjust it, we will.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Shipley. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. So that's why we went with 6.
No, I rearranged. Okay, perfect. Any unfinished business for this board?
I get that, but I don't know if everyone else.
Any new business?
I don't know. Did you want to
Special
comment?
order of the day, Supervisor Borst?
Bob.
Take his mic off.
Can't be.
All right. Get a second on that? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good evening, everyone.
This is a map of our new